What if I told you that there's a YouTuber out there who has a car version that shouldn't even exist? Because every car in it was once a write-off. Yes, that's right, Matt Armstrong owns Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rolls-Royces, but the craziest part is that not a single one of them was bought brand new. These aren't showroom cars. These are cars that were once smashed up, written off by insurance companies, and labeled too expensive or too difficult to fix. But Matt doesn't see them as dead cars. He sees them as a challenge and as an opportunity to own his dream cars. And that's what makes his collection so insane. Because it's not just about having these expensive cars, it's about the story behind each and every one of them. Every single one of these cars has a past, a crash, a write-off, a repair that most people won't even attempt. And somehow Matt brought them back. So yeah, today we're going through Matt Armstrong's full salvage car collection in 2026. Let's get into it. Okay, so before we jump into the cars, I do want to make one thing clear. In this video, we're only going to look at cars that Matt Armstrong owns right now. Meaning I'm not including the cars that he rebuilt and sold. For example, Matt rebuilt a Lamborghini Gallardo, but he ended up selling it because he didn't really love the car. It was just too high-tech and it didn't have that raw feeling that he was going for. And also, if you're watching this and thinking how much money Matt actually saves while doing this, I've already covered the money side of things in this video right here, where I break down how much money he saved when rebuilding supercars instead of buying them brand new. But this video isn't about profit. This is about the cars that Matt couldn't let go of. The ones he kept because he genuinely loves them and because of their history, their story, and everything it took to bring them back to life. So yeah, with that said, let's start with the first car. First up, one of the most iconic cars in Matt Armstrong's collection, and that's the Mansory Rolls-Royce Wraith. And this one has a serious story behind it. The car was famously owned by Marcus Rashford, and when Matt bought it, it was an absolute wreck. It had been in a major accident, and the damage was so bad that the rear quarter panel had to be cut off another Rolls-Royce and put onto this car. It was a long, challenging rebuild, but despite that, this is one of the cars Matt says he could never bring himself to sell. It played a huge role in growing the channel, brought in loads of new viewers, and even went on road trips with his friends and family, including driving to Switzerland and camping on the roof. It's one of those builds that didn't just create a car, it created moments and memories. And that's exactly why it's still in his collection today. Next up is one of Matt's personal favorites, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. It was flood damaged when Matt bought it from Copart. On the outside, it still looked almost perfect, but underneath, it was a complete electrical nightmare. The car had constant electrical faults, and anything with a motor in it had problems. The starter motor failed, the seat motors failed, and the door motors failed as well. Because of the way the car was built, the team had to drop the whole engine to replace the starter motor, so that the car would start up every time. But Matt and his team were able to fix most of the major faults, and the car started working and driving properly. But once it was fixed, he ended up falling in love with the car. Despite the fact that he's had loads of offers from people who want to buy the car from him, every time he gets back in it, he says it just feels special and that's why he refuses to sell it. It's comfortable, it's ridiculous in terms of size and presence, and it's one of those cars that turns heads every single time. And that's why it's still in the collection. Next up is the Lamborghini Urus, the daily driver super SUV. He bought this car as a surprise gift for his girlfriend, but when he first bought it, the car was in pretty bad shape after being crash damaged. But after many hurdles, they managed to rebuild it, and a full CT wide-body carbon kit was fitted, making it wider and way more aggressive than a standard Urus. Not only is this car special to him because it was a surprise for his girlfriend, but it has also been on road trips to Switzerland with his friends and family. And with that said, the Urus is fast, loud, comfortable, and way more usable than people expect. So yeah, he's going to be holding on to this one for a while. Next up is the McLaren 720S. And Matt has mentioned it multiple times that he's never selling this car. He bought it crashed, and like most McLarens, the problem wasn't just broken panels. It was all the electronics and calibration that made the rebuild even more difficult. It was an absolute nightmare to fix it because he had to retub the whole car, including the engine and all the electronics. But once it was rebuilt, the 720S is easily one of the fastest and most dramatic cars in his collection. And just like the others, this is one of the cars he has kept because of the journey it took to get it back on the road. The 720S wasn't easy, it wasn't cheap to fix, and it fought back the whole way. But despite that, he was able to bring it back to life, which is exactly why it's earned its place in his collection. Next up is the Ferrari 458 Spider, and this is one of those cars that just doesn't age. It still looks timeless. He bought it crashed and most of the damage was at the front of the car. It was a lot of structural work to get the car back to how it needed to be and for all the panels to line up. When the car was first rebuilt, it had suspension issues. The car felt spongy and unsettled, but that turned out to be because of an airbag module that still had crash data stored on it, which was messing with the car's body control systems. But once that was sorted, the car was perfect. The 458 is one of the last Ferraris to have a naturally aspirated V8, and therefore Matt does not want to let go of this car. And that's why it's going to be staying in his collection, and we're not going to see it go anywhere anytime soon. Next up is one of the most personal cars in Matt's collection, his Audi RS6. This was a salvage rebuild that was taken way further with a GT3 style touring widebody kit. The build was so unusual and special that the car was shipped to America for SEMA, which makes the RS6 different from anything else in his collection. For Matt, this was his dream car from his BMX days. Something practical enough to throw bikes in the back, but still fast and cool. That's why this one stays. It's got history. It's been through a ridiculous journey, and every time he drives it, it just reminds him of how his journey began. That's why this car is so special to him and is not going anywhere in the near future. Next up is the Liberty Walk Maserati Gran Turismo, and this is one of the cars that Matt has owned for the longest time out of his entire collection. This one is less about performance and more about presence. It's just built to look good because the car itself is not fast in any way compared to the rest of his collection. But it sounds good, it looks insane, and it does exactly what it's meant to do, and that's turning heads. It's also super unpractical because of how low it is, and for that reason, it's not a daily driver and is mostly used for events, shows, and special appearances. The car currently lives in the HWBT shop, and it fits perfectly there as a display piece, along with other parts from other builds, and trophies from the channel's journey. So yeah, this car is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, next up is the Mercedes G63, better known as the G Wagon. When he bought it crashed, majority of the damage was at the front of the car, and it turned out the engine was seized. So the team ended up fitting a new engine and gearbox, rebuilt the damaged front end, and then fitted a full urban wide track carbon kit and wheels. For a V8, the G Wagon doesn't sound as good as it should. Because of the way the exhaust is set up, it can sound like it's only firing on half of the cylinders. And Matt says it really needs an X-pipe exhaust setup to fix the tone. Because compared to something like the Urus, which shares a similar engine layout, the G Wagon just sounds a bit strange. As for whether it's staying in the collection, he's still on the fence about keeping it long term. Yes, the car has grown on him, but Matt's fully not convinced yet. We'll have to stay tuned and see what happens. Next up is the Land Rover Defender, and this one is a bit different because it's actually Hannah's car. Just like the others, it was bought crash damaged. It was rebuilt and got fitted with an urban kit, but this one was chosen to be a proper workhorse daily rather than a flashy supercar. It's practical, reliable enough when looked after, and perfect for day-to-day use. Matt also points out that people love to say that Land Rovers are unreliable, but if you actually look after them, they're not as bad as everyone makes it look. They have owned Range Rovers before, done big miles, and they've been fine when maintained properly. That's why this car will be staying, to be a utility vehicle for day-to-day use. Next up is the Aston Martin DB12. Matt bought this as a replacement for the Aston Martin Vantage, and by his own words, the DB12 is quicker, handles better, and is just a more complete car overall. Plus it actually has rear seats, which makes it way more usable day to day. The DB12 was crash damaged during a PDI inspection at Aston Martin when it was basically brand new. It only had around 40 miles on the clock at the time. After the rebuild, the car was mostly standard, apart from the wheels and Quicksilver exhaust, which completely changed the way it sounded. Even though it shares a similar engine layout to the G Wagon, it sounds way better in the DB12. Visually, the car is currently wrapped in a bronze grey color, but underneath it isn't properly painted yet because the car was rebuilt quickly. Matt said that the wrap will probably come off in the future and the car will get fully painted. He just hasn't decided on the color yet. Matt said that he's not fully convinced yet about keeping the car, and in one of his most recent uploads, he is choosing to give the car away to one of his viewers. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens and who actually ends up winning. Next up is the Porsche 911 GT3, and this is one of the cars that Matt actually drives way more than people realize. The car was bought crashed, it was rebuilt in 24 hours, and then fully repainted in Porsche Ruby Star. It's his go-to for proper drives because compared to the GT3 RS, this car is way more comfortable on the road while still feeling like a race car. This is one of those builds that Matt would hate to see owned by someone else, because he's rebuilt it from scratch and made it exactly how he wants it to be. It's comfortable, looks incredible in Ruby Star, and still feels raw enough to be exciting every single time he drives it. It's easily slotting into the category of a keep forever car, and I'm sure that this car will not be going anywhere anytime soon. Next is the Porsche 911 GT3 RS with the fitted Manti kit, and this is easily one of the wildest cars in the entire collection. This one was left-hand drive because it was imported from America. It was involved in an accident and the crash sent it straight into a river, fully submerging the car underwater. The tub along with the engine had taken a lot of damage, and for that reason the car had to be retubbed. The engine had to be fully rebuilt, and once it was brought back, the car was fitted with the Manti Racing kit, which took the car to a whole new level. Out of the whole collection, this is one of those cars that feels like a trophy rebuild. Not just because of what it is, but because of what it took to save it. A flooded, crash-damaged GT3 RS that should have been written off for good is now fully rebuilt and running with the Manti kit. And if you watch the videos of him rebuilding the car, you will know how big of a nightmare it was to fix. But Matt and his team were able to pull it off. That's why it can be considered a trophy rebuild. And that's why this one sits right near the top of the collection. Next up is the Lamborghini Gallardo, and this one is special because it represents the early days of the channel. This was one of the first proper supercar rebuilds Matt took on, back when the channel was still growing, and it played a big role in putting him on the map. Compared to the newer cars, the Gallardo is way more mechanical and raw. There's less software, fewer systems trying to fight you, and it feels more like an old school supercar in the way it drives. And this is why he loves it. It's not the fastest car in the collection, and it's not the most comfortable, but it's got that proper Lamborghini character. Loud, dramatic, and impractical. But more importantly, it carries a lot of history. It reminds him of where the channel started and how far things have come since those early rebuilds. That's why the Gallardo is still here and is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Next up is the Lamborghini Murcielago, and this is easily one of the most special cars in Matt's collection purely because of what it represents. This is an old school Lamborghini with a big, naturally aspirated V12, dramatic styling, and has a driving experience that feels raw compared to other modern supercars. Like the rest of the collection, it was bought crash damaged and brought back to life instead of being written off for good. But rebuilding it wasn't simple. Parts were expensive, access was tight because of the mid-engine layout, and working on a V12 supercar is never quick. But once it was finished, this became one of those cars that Matt doesn't drive every day. Not because it's unreliable, but because it feels like an occasion every time you take it out. It's the sort of car that you save for the right moment. Out of the whole collection, the Murcielago stands out as a piece of Lamborghini history, and that's why this one is staying for good. And this is a car that Matt will never ever sell. Next up is the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, and this is one of the headline cars in the entire collection. It's a full-flat, naturally aspirated V12 supercar that was bought crash damaged and rebuilt, which already sounds crazy considering what these cars cost new, but was brought back properly and now sits as one of the crown jewels of his collection. The SVJ is all about drama. It's loud, low, aggressive, and feels like a proper event every time it moves. Compared to the newer, more tech-heavy supercars, this car still feels raw and mechanical, which is exactly why it's special. It's not the easiest thing to live with day to day. Visibility isn't great, it's really wide, and everything about it feels over the top. But that's the whole point of an Aventador. And this is why this is one of the cars that Matt sees as a keep forever car. Not just because of the value, but because of what it represents. Taking one of Lamborghini's most extreme road cars ever built and saving it from being scrapped. It is loud, ridiculous, and completely unnecessary, which is why it belongs in his collection. And once again, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. At the moment, Matt is in the middle of rebuilding a crash-damaged Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport, which is easily one of the most extreme projects that he's ever taken. The Bugatti isn't officially part of his collection yet, because the car still belongs to the original owner. But the plan is that once the rebuild is complete, Matt will most probably end up buying the car and adding it to his personal collection. So if everything goes to plan, this won't just be another rebuild. This will probably be a car that will end up staying in its collection for a really long time. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. So yeah, that's Matt Armstrong's salvage car collection. A garage full of cars that were once written off and deemed to the scrapyard. But Matt picked them up, rebuilt them, and kept these because of the story behind each one of them. None of these cars are here by accident. They're here because rebuilding them meant more than just flipping them for profit. But if you're curious about the money side of things, how much it actually saves rebuilding supercars instead of buying them new, I've broken that down in this video right here. And if you want to understand why automakers don't want people like Matt Armstrong and how he is a threat to the system, I explained everything in this video right here. So yeah, that's it for me. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.